Hi, I'm Charlene Berry. I am 63 years old. I'll be 64 next month on the 22nd of February. And I am a full-time breast cancer survivor. Right now, I'm going through treatment for the fourth time.
What's your diagnosis, Charlene?
What do you mean? What?
Like what type of breast cancer do you
Triple
have?
negative.
Triple negative.
I
Okay.
mean, I'm negative for 3 hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like literally one of the most rare types, correct?
It is one of the rare types.
Okay.
One of the harder ones to
cure.
cure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. Okay, so if you could give a message to someone that was fighting breast cancer or cancer in general, what would be the message that you would want to tell them?
Don't give up.
Right.
If you're a person of faith, hold on to your faith, because the faith is what's gonna get you through it. That's
Yeah.
what's gotten me this far of 11 years of fighting triple negative.
Right, that's what I was going to ask you, 11 years. So when you were first diagnosed, kind of back us up to when you were first diagnosed. How did you know to even go get checked? What happened?
I had some discomfort in my breast,
Okay.
and was out on a retreat, I'm a quilter, so I was on a quilter retreat, and I thought I had got bit by a spider or mosquito on the breast because we are in the woods. So I went back to my room and I did the self breast check, and I noticed something. But so when I got home, I made an appointment, went into the doctor. She felt something also. So then the mammogram went in, did the mammogram, and they immediately from the mammogram to a biopsy.
Wow.
Right away. And then in a week or so, I got the diagnosis that I had breast cancer.
And from there, what was their treatment plan for you? Because you have had, you literally like my hero. You've gone through so
Oh, my goodness.
much. It's a story of victory because you have
Yeah.
steadily been one step ahead. But from the minute they diagnosed you, they took you right into a double mastectomy, correct?
They did the one.
The one, okay.
Yeah, the right one. That's the one the lump was in at first. And which they should have, I believe, gave me the option
Right.
of if I wanted both, but not knowing, I decided to do one.
Right.
And at that time I was 53. So I wanted to hold on,
Yeah.
but had I had more information, I would have done a double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that led you back into a second
2
mastectomy.
years later.
That's right.
So I was in remission for 2 years, and then it came back
And the other breast.
in my left breast.
Right. And then you were telling me, how many lymph nodes have you had to have removed at this point?
Well, the right breast, they removed 28.
Ooh.
So that caused me to suffer with lymphedema.
Yeah.
Now, when they did the left one, they took a lot more of the breast, but left some lymph nodes.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have as much trouble with my left arm as I do with my right arm.
Right.
Right.
Because when they're doing, I remember when we went to Arizona, they put a port in
Yes.
to do a lot of IVs with you because of the problem with the IVs in that right arm can swell you up because your body can't process fluids, right?
I was told not to let anyone do blood pressure or take any blood from my right, because by me not having that many lymph nodes, I could get
That's right.
infections.
Yeah.
So they was like, the doctor there was like, don't let anybody do anything to that right arm.
Yeah.
Don't let them take any blood. Don't let them do any blood pressure. Nothing without consulting the doctor first.
Yeah. Letting them know ahead of time. So you have evolved from being someone that has breast cancer, went into remission, got it back, put it back in remission, got it back. And now we're in year 11 fighting this battle. But during that 11 years, some very remarkable things have happened to you. And you have begun a ministry, several to be exact. What would you say is your biggest ministry at this point? What do you do with the cancer that makes you a little different than most cancer victims, is what I call them. Because
First of all,
I'm going to sit too.
yeah. First of all, I listen. And then, first of all, I let God lead me in the way He wanted. Now, first of all, when I started treatment, I had a friend of mine who made me a quilt. And when I went for infusion, all the patients wanted one. And I'm like, oh, God, I cannot make all these people
Right. A quilt.
quilt. Right. And so, again, I went to retreat and I was talking about it. And a friend of mine, her name is Cindy Champagne, she told me, she says, I have a bunch of quilts. My family have enough. They don't want any more, but I have a bunch if you got a mosquito.
Oh, thank you.
We are outdoors. So
Yeah, and we get the big swamp mosquitoes. It
Yeah.
just rained out here. That would have hurt for a week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And she said, I have some. If they don't like them, you can give them back. But, if you want them, you can have them. And I told her, sure. So when I met her, she gave me 29 quilts. And all of them were queen size. And I gave them, I was so excited. I went back to the infusion lab where I was doing treatment. And I gave them all away. As the patients were coming in, I gave them all away. And they were so excited. So that started that ministry. And I'm going to back up a little bit more. When I first did my first treatment, my husband was with me. I was sitting there reading our daily bread, and I was so afraid. I didn't know what to expect because I had no one to tell me anything about it. So I'm praying and I'm reading the daily bread, and I hear the Holy Spirit talking to me about a lady who was trying to pay her copay, and she didn't have the money, and they were refusing to do her treatment because she didn't have much. She had a balance. So then I said, the Holy Spirit said, pay her copay, pay her bill, and I'm like, God, I don't know if I have the money to pay it.
Right.
So, and I said, and then I don't want to get in that lady's business about her finance. And the Holy Spirit kept talking to me. Pay her copay. So then I went over to her and I said, Miss, I'm not trying to get into your business, but God is telling me to pay this money for you. Well, the lady starts to cry, and the receptionist who's taking, she's like, are you sure? I'm thinking this lady got this big balance, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay it, but
I'm going to pay it.
and I told Charles, I said, God is telling me to do this. He said, well, do it.
That's right. Amen for a good husband.
Yeah. And so I went up and told her this, and I asked her, the reception said, how much does she owe? $30.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
She didn't have $30, and they was not going to give her treatment because she didn't have $30.
And that happens so often.
And I had so many people say, well, what if it been $1,500? Would it have been $2,500? I said, well, I'd have to make arrangements, and I'd start paying it.
You would have paid it, though.
Yeah.
After getting to know you, because I'll do an intro to this video. I haven't done it yet. People don't realize what you've done for me, but after knowing you, you would have made payments until Jesus would have called you home. Mm-hmm. And then your husband would have kept paying those payments because that is the type of people y'all are.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. People say that, it was a test for me.
That's right. A faith.
Because, believe it or not, at that time, we had the money. If it would have been $2,500.
That's right.
I could have paid it out.
Yeah.
My husband was remarkable with choosing our insurance.
Thank God, too. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, so we got a lump sum of money that we had, so he would be able to, they call it a cancer policy.
Right.
So if you get cancer, they give you a one-time lump sum. So we had it. So if he needed to be home, he could without it being a financial burden on us.
Right.
So it was a test to me to see if I was listening.
That's right.
For $30, it had to be a test.
It had to be. And I try to tell people this, if the Bible's specific. God says, I give you the ability to create wealth. So at any moment, he can replace anything you send out. Mm-hmm. And for you, it was, because like you said, it could have been a $2,500 bill.
Yeah.
You had no idea. You just blindly said, let me pay your bill.
Yeah. And she was so appreciative, and so we did the treatments. Everything went well. I was really, really sick. God put two women in my life they took turns bringing me to my treatments, so my husband didn't have to miss work.
Right.
Okay. Then we went into remission for 2 years. Nothing. And then it came back. And it came back in the left. So by this point, my husband's like, we're not staying in Louisiana. Some people question why did I leave and go so far.
They could just do a little history on our healthcare system here, and they'll understand.
They will, and I was.
They would have killed you, and we've talked about that.
Yeah,
I don't think you'd have been here.
I didn't think I was. I thought they were taking good care of me.
Arizona did beautiful.
They did. And my husband said, I said, well, Charles, I thought they did so good for me. And he was like, well, you had nothing to compare it to.
That's right.
So how would you know if they were taking good care of you? Because when I asked my doctor why she didn't suggest and let me make the decision whether I wanted a double mastectomy or not, she said she didn't think. And I asked her this question. If I would have been your mother,
would you have thought?
Would you thought then? What if I had been your sister, your grandmother, your aunt? Would you have thought? Well, then I knew I couldn't stay.
That's right.
So then I had trouble because they had reconstructed by then, and I kept going and complaining about the reconstruction.
And you're not a complainer.
No.
No, I've been around you now for almost 3 years. 3 years. I can count on one hand, 2 fingers, how many times I've actually heard you make a complaint. Mm-hmm. And it was for like I would have complained long before you had. You just don't complain. So that tells me whatever they had done in the reconstruction, they did it incorrectly.
Well, and then my husband said, you're not staying here, we leave it.
That's right.
So by then I'm like, God, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And a commercial came on for Cancer Treatment Center. Yeah. And I called, and they were ready to put me on a plane within 4 days to fly me out to Arizona. And I went to Arizona, it's funny, because of my husband. If you know my husband, he loves to drive. If I'd have went to Atlanta, Chicago, Pennsylvania, I think it's, no, not Pennsylvania, I think it's, trying to remember, it's 4 places. Well, anyway, if I'd have went closer to home, he would have tried to drive me. And I don't want him to drive like that. That would have been a lot of driving. So I said, get me as far away.
We have to outsmart our husbands sometimes, girl, for their own good.
I told the guy on the phone, the nurse, I said, get me as far away from Louisiana as possible. So he wouldn't try to drive me, which he still tried to drive to Arizona. But I'm telling you, it was the right place because I believe they saved my life.
I do too.
They saved my life. They had to go back on the reconstruction and take everything that they had did. They had to do. They didn't do it over. They had to fix it.
Right.
I didn't want them to do all the reconstruction anymore. So they had to. I had a gaping big hole under my arm.
Yeah.
That the implant was going in under my arm was causing me a lot of pain. So there I got to meet a lot of people, friends. I made so many friends. We gave so many quotes. I think I've given,
I would say it'd be thousands. Yeah.
Of quotes away
and
in
hats.
Arizona.
Yeah, because y'all went to the knit hats.
Mm-hmm. We started doing the hats here.
Yeah.
But there I did the...
I remember when we flew, you brought extra suitcases you paid for out of your pocket full of quilts.
And pillows.
I'll never forget that. We was dragging them through the airport. And you were like, even after cancer treatment, you're there to get cancer treatment. You're having to fly from home. And yet you're still thinking about other people. And I think when I think of you, and then I think of Jesus, that's what I wish more people would be like. Is that your concern is always for, does somebody else have what they need? And it keeps you very positive.
Yeah. My thing is, I couldn't fathom having something so tragic that it was for nothing. It had to be a reason. The reason is what keeps me going. The reason is it wasn't about me. It was about Jesus. And Jesus loved everyone. So if I can make one person's life better, feel a little better than what I did the first time, then I did my job. And I started off with a few, and then I kept bringing more and more. Then they start calling for more. And I went to the ladies, and I told them, I said, look, If you have a quilt top that you made, and we do that, and you think it's the most ugliest thing in the world, give it to me.
That's
I
right.
guarantee you I can find someone going through cancer that will love it.
And I remember in Arizona, you had a gift for looking at the quilts that you had and the person approaching you, and you could match a quilt to a person and they never opened their mouth. And they would be so surprised because they would be like, that was actually the quilt I was looking at on my way over here. And it was a beautiful thing to see that. But I don't think you realize how many lives you touch also in your community and your church. You disciple a lot of us. When we first start coming to church and we're smelling like the world and we're talking like the world, your gentleness and acceptance of us gives us an opportunity and a chance to find our feet in the modern church. And that's a blessing.
You say that, but I don't even know I'm doing that.
I know. And that's
You
what's the
know?
beauty of it. It's the beauty of it because it's the humbleness behind it. You don't realize how much you mean to so many of us, but you always put us underneath your wing. You did with Stephen and I. I mean, you couldn't have got two more just got off drugs looking people in the world. But you and Charles literally took us under your wing and discipled us and worked with us and loved on us, supported us, prayed for us. Y'all just have. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I believe what you believe, that you will be cured of this. You're a 1%er. So funny.
Our pastor, because we are at church.
I thought he was going to fuss at us. I turned it off real quick. I'm like, oh, he's probably like, what are they doing out there? But my dad was a 1%er. My father claimed that for you, and I claim it for you. You are literally, and the doctors have told you that, you are literally a 1%er. In other words, 99% of people would have already perished to what you've gone through. They physically could not have held up. And looking at you right now, I would not know you had cancer.
Yeah,
11 years
11
of cancer,
years,
and look
yeah.
at you.
This
You are
time-
glowing.
This time I was diagnosed again 3 years ago. So I've been going.
Yeah,
through
right when I
treatment.
got saved.
Right when you got saved. 3 years ago, I got diagnosed again for the 4th time, and I've been doing treatment ever since.
Yeah,
So
every week almost. I think you were
yeah.
skipping like a week
I
and
would
then skip
do
a week.
and then do another week, and then I would have a week off, and then I would go back.
And you were
And I
flying to
was-
Arizona
I was
for a year and a
flying,
half,
yeah.
and then you came back to Louisiana when the Holy Spirit told you to
I
again.
asked him, I asked him so many times, is it time? When do I come? Because I was getting tired.
Yeah, it's a
And
lot.
finally, he said, I said, one of our church members gave me a bunch of information because I was thinking about it. And I was so convicted on what to do. And so when I looked through all the paperwork she gave me, and I'm like, I don't even know how to transfer my records. Where do I start first?
Exactly.
And there was a social worker's business card, and I called her. And she said, let me get started for you. And she called me back. That was a blessing. I've never met the lady. I don't even remember her name. But she got the wheel started for me to come home.
Right.
To start.
And continue your health care here.
Right. And I told her, and I said, when I wanted a woman doctor.
Yeah.
Because I've been having a woman. I went to Arizona for 7 years. And I wanted a woman because that's what I had there. But in walked this young, handsome man. I'm like,
Girl.
I asked for a woman. So I can hear God saying, give him a chance.
That's right.
Give him a chance. And he looked at me and he said, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean what I'm doing? He said, I expected to see you in a wheelchair.
Yes, I remember.
Or with a walker.
Oh, I remember him.
Dr. Varnado.
Yes, I remember him. And when I was with you one day, you mentioned that your leg ached, and he responded so quick because he said, Charlene, you never complain. So let's start the test immediately. Let's full body scan you. I will never forget that. Guys, hear me now. If you're going through cancer, you are going to be uncomfortable. But you need to try not to mention every little thing to your doctor that hurts. Only mention what needs immediate attention, because that's what makes you different. It's what made my dad different. Y'all's doctors never heard you complain. So when y'all both opened your mouth and said
both a blessing and a curse because
Yes.
he fusses at me.
that's right, because he knows you're
I
uncomfortable.
won't say anything. He said, Miss Charlene, you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. He said, Miss Charlene, you need to tell me when something's going on.
That's right.
I got fussed at by him last week because I was sick for a whole week, and I wouldn't go in.
Yeah, you do get stubborn.
I know, and I promised him that I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
So I've gave my husband have all the information. I'm gonna let him make that decision.
That's right.
Whether to call in, because it doesn't seem like I could do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be a bother.
I know.
You know, I mean, I'm like, I
It's the
always
humbleness.
feel somebody else could be in that spot, seeing that doctor instead of
That
me.
you're so much like my dad. My dad would always be like, "Oh, I don't hit the nurse's button because somebody else may need her."
Yeah,
And there would
yeah.
be blood pouring out of his side ports from surgery, and we're all like, "I think you might need her worse," you know. So it's the humbleness that I hope somebody feels. I hope they see in you what the whole world has seen in you when they meet you. You guys continue to pray. Charlene is literally one of my best friends. She has been amazing, and we're not going to let her go. We're going to keep fighting for her. So Charlene Berry, put her on your prayer list. If you guys have any questions, put them in comments. I will ask her. She'll watch the video. She'll probably read the comments, so she'll answer them. So y'all will see her. But thank you, Charlene, for doing
welcome.
this.
Anytime.
I appreciate
and I mean,
this.
if they want more information, I'm happy to help.
I know
anyway.
you will. And there will be somebody. This video was made for one person. And when they
I've been
see it,
trying
we'll
to
know
do
it.
one like this for a while, and it would always fall through.
Yeah.
And the other day, I watched. I became hooked on TikTok now.
Oh, girl. I only watch the good stuff, but I'm on it now, too. What?
And I saw a girl named Jane, who also had breast cancer, who lost her hair, and they lost Jane. She didn't make it. Her journey was over here on earth and began in heaven. But Jane told her story, and and I said, okay, is it time? And you came straight up, call Samantha. You need to tell your story to her followers.
You do. Because I've got several people on here. I told you the other day I got a personal email from one of my very active subscribers, and they said, I'm earmarking money for your friend who has breast cancer so that she can get the boxes that will run from April to November. I want her to have a box every week because I too fought breast cancer, and she needs the best food possible.
Can't get any help from anybody.
No, because you fall through the cracks.
I fall through the cracks because either my husband makes too much money,
right,
or our insurance is just too good.
That's it. But you still have co-pays.
I still have co-pays.
Travel costs.
I still have
He still has to miss work. And the worst thing, and you and I have talked about this, y'all would have your home paid off right now.
Yeah.
If it was not for the medical expenses.
Right. The expenses to go to Arizona was costing us anywhere from $1,500.
Yeah, like 2,400 is what we were talking about that one time. And that's if you went by yourself. And then if you paid for someone to be a caretaker while you were there.
Exactly.
It was, and that was
flight, hotels.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they would give me discounts on the plane.
Yeah, I remember that.
Sometimes they would pay for the plane, but you just never know.
That's right.
You know, so that got to be very expensive. You know, and doing it for 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years.
You would have had everything paid off, but that's all right because I believe God will make it happen in the end. But this is why when the Holy Spirit told Stephen and I, start a campaign on Give, Send, Go, do a food for thought campaign, fill in the spots.
And
there's people in your community.
Because when me and you were going to Arizona, I have a dog that's a Cane Corso that doesn't like everybody, but she loves
Stephen.
She loves Stephen, and her name is Arizona. I went there so much, I named the dog.
Yeah, named the dog,
Yeah, so don't forget him because he would come to the house when we were gone and let her out.
So she didn't have to be
in the house, and then she can go to the bathroom on his lunch break.
Yeah.
So we cannot leave him out because he did that.
He loves you.
Every day.
He is your champion.
Yeah.
If there's anybody that believes you're going to be healed, my husband will not even discuss your cancer.
He don't want to talk about it.
He will not talk about it.
No,
in his mind,
and he's like,
in his mind, you were healed because that's what he wants because he doesn't want to live without you. That's
so
going to make
sweet.
me cry.
I don't know, me too. My eyes are welling.
I know, right? So
you know, and she looks forward to him. She's probably mad at him because
girl. But we coming to get them goats in a couple of weeks.
Oh my God! Don't talk about the goats. We had 3 babies in 2 days.
Are they okay? They're alive.
They're having twins.
Oh Lord!
Friday we had a set of twins, and then last night one gave birth in the rain.
Oh God!
A set of twins, but one of the twins died.
Okay.
So and then she won't feed it. So the one that had the twins that survived, she's feeding it.
Oh, sweet
So
baby. So
now
she
we
feeding
gotta,
triplets.
yeah. So now we got to go milk her, the mom.
But you got that milking stand.
Yeah, we're gonna milk her, get that milk out of there, and we're gonna feed it to the baby.
Yeah.
So we're gonna attract the supply to get the supplies for that, and then we got more babies gonna be coming.
Okay, well, if you've got any that you want out of there for a little bit, I can move them into my electric fence with the chickens. I got surgery tomorrow. Give us a couple of days, maybe next weekend.
Okay.
We'll come grab a couple of the older goats, put them in there, and let them eat
Maybe
down.
the ones that had babies already.
Yes, and that'll give you a break and cut down on your feed costs,
Yeah.
girl. We got to work together. I
Okay.
love you. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.